Thank you again, Darren. And now it's time for our featured speaker. So she is a lot of fun. I've been having a good time working with her. She's a great girl. She started in September 2015. So what are we, almost 4 years a coach? She's achieved 5-star diamond rank in her first business center, and she's achieved 1-star in her second business center. Darren talks a lot about CBC, your Coach Business Center. And when you get to the 2-star diamond rank, you're able to open another business center, which creates a whole other genealogy of people and another income stream. So just teaching you a little bit about Coach Business Centers. She achieved the premier status her first year as a coach, and she's been 2 times a premier coach. She's also a 2019 elite coach. And she has spent 44 months in Success Club, never missing a month since she started. So I'm excited to bring on all the way from Nova Scotia, Canada, Lindsay Hill. Hi there, welcome, Lindsay.
Hi, Sandy, thank you.
You're very welcome. So I want to get out of the way and let you talk about what brought you to Beachbody. How'd you become a coach?
Perfect. Thank you so much. All the way from Nova Scotia, Canada. We're on the map. So I'm so excited to be here, and it is a crazy moment for sure. So I'm going to take you guys back to how I got started and how I became a coach, like Sandy said. You'll see here, I actually have some point shoes. I grew up as a competitive dancer, and it was such a big part of my life. And I really believe that it's something that has shaped me to who I am today. So spending the time in the studio and putting in the hours. So I'm not afraid to show up and work hard. So I grew up as a dancer, and from there I went to university and I studied biology. So I graduated with my biology degree, my Bachelor of Science, and I was ready to come into the workforce. I was ready to get a job in my field. I always felt like I was meant for big things. And I came into the workforce and I couldn't find anything in my field. I couldn't find a job. Nobody was hiring somebody without experience. So I took a job in HR, and it was going to be a temporary job. And I lasted in that job for 5 years. And I can remember being so unfulfilled and being unhappy and leaving there every Friday with this feeling of resentment and anger, but I wasn't doing anything to change it. I would show up again on the Monday and I would go to work and I would leave that Friday just with those feelings of resentment, but it was just my reality. And I remember telling myself that it is normal to have a job that you don't like. It is normal to live with debt, and I should just be grateful that I am bringing home a paycheck. And I remember telling myself that and just settling and just being like, this is what life is about. And then it was 2010, and it was the year that we were getting married, and we were getting married in Cabo. So I was really motivated for my health and fitness, but we didn't have the money to be able to afford a gym membership. So my friends were actually doing this home program called P90X, and we were watching them and we thought, okay, well, if they're doing it and they're getting results, we're going to do it. And we dove into the meal plan. We did all of the workouts, and we were so motivated by our results that we were getting. We went to our wedding feeling so good, but we came back and we didn't have the motivation to get another program or to start another program. And then every year would come and I'd get a gym membership and I would go to the gym for a week and then I wouldn't do anything. And I repeated that year over year. And then I got pregnant with my first son. And when he was born with a really rare syndrome called FPIES. And probably nobody really knows what that is, but he was basically allergic to all food. If he ate food, it made him really, really sick. And for the first time in my life, I had anxiety. I was on medication, and that whole they just consumed me. Everything was FPIES. And I think looking back, that's really where I lost myself. I didn't really know who I was anymore because that was everything for me. And then I got pregnant with my second son. And that was the time when I started to watch my coach. And looking back, I don't even think I knew she was a Beachbody coach. And I honestly probably wouldn't even entertain it, or wouldn't even have been interested in it. But I just started watching her, and she was sharing her fitness. She was sharing the community and her friendships that she was making. And she was sharing her income. And that's really what caught my attention. And I was like, okay, I want to know more. So it was a Friday night. I was 6 weeks postpartum from having my second son. So I had a 2.5-year-old at the time. I had a 6-week-old. It was a Friday night. I was not doing anything because, I mean, I was a mom. I didn't do anything, and I was lonely. And I went to this coaching sneak peek on this Friday night, and I just saw this community and the girls that were talking on it and the friendships that they made. And they just had something that I wanted. And that night I joined with a maxed out credit card. But something in my gut told me that this could be a financial answer for us. And at the time we were in a really bad spot financially. So I was on mat leave pay in Canada. My husband had just been laid off from his contract work. And we were basically a family of 4 living on a line of credit and just getting by. And I made the decision that night that if I was going to do this, I was going to go all in, and I was going to show up, and I owed it to my family, and that this could be an answer for us. And that's the point when I decided that if nothing changes, nothing changes. So here I am.
So true. You couldn't have said it better. And you know, Canadians always say mat leave. We got to learn that in America. Shorten it up. It's not maternity leave. It's mat leave.
Yeah.
So Lindsay, you and I talked about your topic, and I wanted to know everything about how you onboard. And so why don't you talk about why this topic?
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually really excited that I was asked to speak on this topic, because this is an area, to be honest, that I struggled a little bit with in my business last year. I got distracted by all the ideas and the training sites and everything that I saw going on, that I really started to overcomplicate things. And I had to take a step back and look at when I started, and that year we hit Premier in my first year, what was I doing then, and what am I doing now, and what is different? And it really boiled down to overcomplicating things. And our business is actually quite simple, but it's so easy to get distracted. And when I looked back and saw what I was doing compared to what I'm doing now, I just had to bring things back and just kind of repeat simplicity and duplication. And once I did that, I did start to see the momentum build again. So I'm going to share today my best practices around that. And I'll share too something that I do that I find really helps my coaches get started with confidence and just start instead of kind of taking in all the information.
Awesome. I love that. Simplicity and duplication. So I have written down here that your new coaches watch what you do. Why don't you share what you have?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is something that really gets overlooked. It's something that we talk about all the time, but I don't think we understand the impact that our social media has on our coaches. So we have the opportunity to show up consistently on our social media. I show up every single day, and I push play, and I share my workout. And when I'm doing my personal development, I take pieces of that and I share it in a post, or I share it on my stories. And we really have the opportunity to use our social media to train our new coaches before they even start. I watched my coach for 7 months. So when I joined, I knew what I had to do. I knew that I had to show up consistently. And we get the opportunity to paint the vision for our coaches by sharing our stories and sharing where we were and now where we are and the struggles that we went through. And we get to inspire people through those stories and really make them realize that, like, if I can do this, then this is something you can do too. And by showing up consistently, if it shows them, like, if you're not showing up consistently, why are your new coaches going to show up consistently? If you're not showing up and pushing play and doing the vital behaviors, why are your new coaches going to be doing that? So by sharing that and sharing the business opportunity, what it's done for you financially, physically, mentally, that just really opens up the door for you to connect with those people and for you to invite them to do this with you.
You know, you're saying things that coaches on this call already know, right? Which is to show up. But new coaches that are watching for the first time are hearing it again. It's repeated. This is a message, you know, that if you show up, your coaches do what you do. So let's start getting into the how-tos of the, you know, how did you start sharing the business side of coaching?
Yeah, definitely. So I think this is something, especially as new coaches, that there's a lot of fear around. And I look back to when I started as a coach, and I didn't know anything. I hadn't gone through all of the training. I wasn't in a challenge group. Like, I joined as a coach and a challenger at the same time. And I look back, I shared the business side from day one. I shared myself working, and I know I didn't have a story yet. I didn't have a success story, but I know my coach did. And I followed her, and I know her story. And I shared that story with everyone right from day one, because I saw the possibilities of what she was doing. And I knew that that possibility was for me, and that possibility was for other people out there. So I did not shy away from the business side of things. I shared it on my social media. And I think it's so important for new coaches to do that and be excited about it, and use the stories that we have from our team and from the network to share with other people and inspire them and show them that they can do that too.
So I don't have to come back on the video, but why don't you go ahead and start talking about how your training went?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll share with you guys how we have the training set up, how I send it out. And it's not fancy. It's not it's very, very simple, and it's what's working for us. So all of my new coaches, they get a welcome email. And this welcome email tells them when our team calls are. It shares with them a little bit about Success Club, and it has them making their list right away. And that's an action step. So right away, they're doing something actionable towards their business. And it also includes a link to part 1 of our training. And it is simply a Google Doc. It is not a training site or anything. It's a Google Doc. They can save it to their notepad or their phone, and they can read through it as quickly as they like. And in there, it includes talking about their why, Success Club, getting to Emerald. There's a link to the business activity tracker, and there's also a video breaking down our compensation plan for them. So that is the first step that all of our new coaches get. And once that happens and they go through that email and they've gone through the part 1 Google Doc, then they get put into a message thread. And this is probably my favorite part, is when my new coaches come into this message thread with me, because I feel like it builds the sense of community right off the bat. They all have similar fears, and it gives me a chance to relate to them and tell them I had the same fears as a new coach. It gives me a chance to give them actionable tasks and help with conversations. And it also just gives them a safe place to show each other that, like, okay, they support each other. They get out of their comfort zones together, and just realizing that they're not doing it alone. So they go into this message thread, and something I get them to do right off the bat is share their why on their social media. And this could be a big jump for some, and it can be scary, but I think it's really important to get them to take action right away, because a lot of people are really fearful to make that first post, but once you make it, they realize, like, it's not that scary. So they're not doing a call to action. They're not sharing, like, posting and asking people to join them. They're simply sharing their why, what they've been up to, how they feel, and what they're excited about. And from doing that right off the bat, it gives them a chance to start conversations, to connect with people. And I'm in this message thread to help them with those conversations. And I tell them, like, you're gonna get some no's. And, like, that's normal, because people just aren't ready right now. And I share with them the times that I get no's too. So it just shows that we're all doing the same work, but it gets them to take action and put themselves out there right away and realize that it's not that scary.
Okay, so every coach who starts has a startup story, how they got started, why they got started. So you had a startup story that you share on how you hit Emerald. Tell me what that story is and how it helps coaches that you bring on board.
Yeah, definitely. I always share my startup story. I think it's important because like I said, I started sharing the business side from day one when I was a new coach. And I share my Emerald story and hitting my first business milestone because I want to show them how simple it can be when you don't overthink it and you just start doing the things. So I joined as a coach, and it was my first time being in a challenge group and coaching. And I hadn't gone through all the training. I wasn't even in my challenge group yet, but I was excited because I knew what the potential was. I knew what the possibilities were. So right away when I joined as a coach, I actually sent a text message to my neighbor, a good friend of mine. And I was like, it was so informal. I was just excited. And I said, hey, oh my gosh, I joined to be a Beachbody coach and I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to help people. I'm going to get in shape and I am going to earn a 25% discount off workouts. That's when we had DVDs. And I'm going to earn an income and I want you to do it with me. And that's literally what I said to her. I was just excited. And I thought it would be so much fun to be able to do this with somebody else and to be able to run our groups together and somebody that was my friend. So that was my first working coach in this business. And then my second working coach was somebody that I connected with to be my accountability buddy and to do the workouts with me. And this was again in my first week. And unfortunately, she didn't have the income to invest in a challenge pack. So I said to her right away, without any hesitations, I was like, well, why don't you coach with me? I was like, my friend is doing this. We could do it together. We can run our groups together. We'll go through the training. It will be so much fun. And she joined as a coach. So in my first week, I hit Emerald and I had 2 working coaches and we literally went through the training together. So I always share that story with my new coaches because I want them to see that doing this business with other people is fun. Going through the training together is fun. Getting out of your comfort zone and having somebody that you know do this with you is just like, why wouldn't you want to do that? And I show them that I'm right alongside of them the whole time, helping them and sharing my story right from the beginning. I find just helps them see that, wow, okay, she started there and this is what she did. I can do that. I can message my friends. I can tell them why I'm excited about this. And that's exactly how I started. And something else too that I've learned is the more training you give people, this from my experience, the more training I give my new coaches, the more paralyzed or the more apt they're not to do something. So just by sharing how simple my story was when I started, it's easy for them to take action and implement it. And I always share conversations and help them with that too. So that's how I got started.
That's a great story, and it's lighting up Facebook right now. So it sounds so simple, and you make it sound so easy. And saying that training can be paralyzing is so true. I mean, I've been in training most of my career, and you can educate all you want, but if people don't put it into action, it's really just good to know news. So why don't you talk about, you had a coach training part 2. So how are you able to get people into action?
Yeah, definitely. So part 1 is happening. They've gone through all of that. They've been in their message thread, and the biggest thing is that they've already started taking action. So they've built a little momentum. They've gotten over that initial fear. And now is when they get introduced into our team page. So I have found that when I add them into our team page and introduce them to the team and the community and everything, they tend to get a little overwhelmed. So I want them to build that momentum first, and then they come into our community. So when they come into our community, we have units in our Facebook page. Unit 1 is the rest of their training. So it's part 2 of their training. And that's where they can dive deeper into growing their social media following, our favorite apps, just diving deeper into their business. So they can see success from part 1 of the training. But if they're ready to go deeper and learn more, part 2 is there for them. And then I think what's been the biggest help for us, and it is so simple, is unit 2 in our Facebook group and our team page is how to onboard a new coach. So they've just done it themselves. And then in unit 2, they get access to the welcome email they can send their new coaches, to the training, to how to introduce somebody to the team page and when. So it is something that's just so simple and duplicatable for them that they can start doing right away. And the second thing that we do, so once they do part 2 of the training, the second thing that has been so successful for our team, and I look forward to, actually it happens tonight, I look forward to them every single month, is that we run a focused GSR call. So a focused getting started right call every second Monday of the month. And this is something that I pair up with my coach to do. And I think it's important for the entire downline because it gives a chance for our team, our entire downline, to connect with us and to talk with us. So on these calls, we always get the best messages after them. Our team is so fired up and they're so excited to move their business forward. And it's simple things that we share, but we get to connect with them. And I think that's the big thing. So the first half of the call is always focused on Success Club, how it's the foundation of our business, how committing to your fitness journey is important, how to start conversations around that. And the second half is about getting to Emerald. And what I think is great about this is, as I shared like my Emerald story, we share how we both hit Emerald on these calls. So even if I'm not working directly with a coach in the downline, they get the opportunity to come on this call and hear our stories right from the beginning and see what the business has done for us and see that we're just regular people that have been showing up consistently. And we show them that hitting Success Club and hitting Emerald like really is a decision and it's the foundation of our business. So on that call, we give them tangible scripts that they can take and put into action that night. But we also hold them accountable. So something we do every time we have the call, if you're going to be on the call tonight, you're going to see, but we ask people who wants to hit Emerald this week, who has a goal to hit Emerald by Sunday, and we get them to put up their hand and we take a picture and we post that picture in our team page and we give them a shout out and we say like how awesome it is and they're so excited. And what's so great about that is that our team can rally behind them and support them and tell them that they can do it. And it's just nice knowing that they're not alone, but I think also having accountability towards that goal is so helpful for them. So the focused getting started right calls have been amazing. Our team knows they're every second Monday of the month. They're consistent. And the fact that they get those tangible, simple scripts that they can implement into their businesses, it's been huge for our team. It's been really, really big.
You know, I hear coaches all the time say, just show up. And, you know, just showing up shows the consistency and the commitment, and that's great. But in order to really move the business forward, you've got to do something. So you have it focused on hitting Success Club and hitting Emerald. So it's not just showing up. It's also goals around Success Club and Emerald, and then you hold them accountable. So would you say that that's like the secret sauce there?
Oh, definitely. I think accountability is everything. And I mean, it's easy to show up on social media, but the magic really happens behind the scenes and the people that you talk to and like those conversations that are happening. And sometimes if we have time, we get them to send those invites and start taking action on the call. So when they do get replies, they post them in the chat and we help them and they just see like, oh, it's not that bad. So yeah, we definitely put emphasis on the fact that you talk to people and like that's a business building activity.
Great. So lastly, in the notes that I have on you is about team acceptance and recognition. So why don't you talk about that in terms of this topic about onboarding?
Yeah, definitely. So I love this part actually. I think recognition, well, we know it's a really, really big part of our business. And when we have new coaches that come into our team page and start, we share, like we celebrate every success, in every win, whether it's their first time sharing their why, or their first post, or their first person that they've helped. Those are always getting shared in our team page. But one thing that we have done, and we've been doing for a year and a half now, and it has never died down. The first day of every month, we put up a post. And it's a simple post recognizing a new month, and we share excitement for the month ahead. But what we do on that post is we celebrate every time anybody has helped anyone. And whether that is a Beachbody On Demand free trial, a 3-day refresh, a challenge pack, a new coach to the team, whatever that is, whoever they have helped, they comment on this post. So as the month is going, the posts are coming in and the comments are coming in, and we're all getting notifications, and we just support one another. We just show up, and as the new coaches start helping people, they're getting recognized in that thread from myself, from other leaders on the team, from everyone, that it's their first person they've helped, or they're continuing to help people. And it's just a really great way to see how all of our products can help so many different people, and that we are really making a difference. So every month that goes up, and it's been so great for our team, and it's been so consistent too. It's still going strong.
Good for you. I'm happy for your success. And let's close out the call with the question about personal fulfillment. What has coaching been able to do for you?
Definitely. Gosh, I don't know where I would be without coaching. This was a hard question to answer and put it into words, but honestly, Beachbody has done so much for me personally, physically, mentally. Money had always been a really, really big stressor of mine for as long as I can remember. And the fact that I don't go and check my bank account every Monday to make sure, I'm not gonna get emotional, to make sure that like my mortgage isn't gonna bounce, or that I can put gas in my car and not have to worry that I don't have enough in my bank account. I get to watch my son come home from school every day and walk up the street. And when we go to put them in sports, like we registered them for baseball, like there's no anxiety around it. And that has been so big for us. And on my vision board behind me, it's the simplest thing, but I can put fresh flowers on my table. And it's something that's been on my vision board since day one as a coach. And I know that doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's something that I could never do. I could never just go to the grocery store and pick up some flowers and come home and put them on my table because I wanted to have them. And now I have that opportunity. My passport had been expired for 5 years before I started coaching. We didn't have any income to travel. It was locked in a safe. Like I wasn't traveling at all. And now I've been able to go to so many different places. My husband came on the Success Club cruise. We're taking the whole family to Punta Cana next year for a trip. Like they don't know that yet, but we get to surprise them with that. And I've probably met the most amazing, incredible people on this journey. And I don't know where my life would be without them. And some of my best friends are now from coaching. So it has been such an incredible journey. I get to wake up every single day and do this, and that's amazing. But what I love even more is that I get to see how it is changing other people's lives and how what I have done is impacting other people.
You know, it's okay to get emotional about it because you worked really hard for what you want and you made it work. And it made me tear up. Even the passport thing, as little as that, you don't realize it, but you know, passport just sits if it's not used. And if you're not earning any money to go anywhere, or earning any trips. What a great story. I'm really happy for you, Lindsay, and it's been a pleasure working with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sandy.
All right. So coaches, I have an affirmation for today. It's start here and start today. I think it's really appropriate because her topic was about onboarding. And I think that all of you do such a great job bringing people to you, attracting them on social media and, you know, acquiring them to your team. But onboarding is just as important You heard her story about getting 2 working coaches in her first week. She did that with, you know, putting it out there and getting people to work with her on it and onboarding them correctly. So with that, have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you here next week. Bye-bye.